Have you ever been hurt by someone who walked away, only to realize later that the moment you started loving yourself, their regret began? What if the key to their remorse wasn't about winning them back, but about losing the version of you they thought they could control? Carl Jung, the pioneering psychologist, revealed a profound truth. The way others treat you is often a mirror of how they see themselves. When someone leaves, dismisses, or underestimates you, it's rarely about your worth. It's about their own unresolved shadows. But here's the turning point. When you cultivate genuine self-love, something shifts. Their indifference turns into unease. Their certainty wavers. Because true self-worth forces them to confront what they walked away from. In this video, we'll explore Jung's wisdom on self-love as rebellion, how shadow work exposes the games people play, and why emotional independence is the ultimate revenge. By the end, you'll understand why their regret was never the goal, but why it becomes inevitable when you stop chasing and start choosing yourself. Let's begin. Carl Jung's concept of projection explains why people regret losing you, but not in the way you might think. Projection is the mind's way of outsourcing what it refuses to face within itself. When someone walks away from you, they're often rejecting the parts of themselves they see reflected in you. Your confidence, your vulnerability, your potential. They mistake their own discomfort for a flaw in you. But here's the twist. The more you heal and own those qualities, the harder it becomes for them to ignore what they dismissed. Their regret isn't about missing you. It's about confronting the version of themselves they avoided by leaving. This is where unconscious attraction plays a role. People are drawn to, and later repelled by, those who embody what they lack or suppress. If they struggle with self-worth, your growth becomes a mirror they can't escape. If they fear vulnerability, your authenticity becomes a threat. Their rejection was never just about you. It was a failed attempt to silence their own unresolved shadows. But when you stop shrinking, their narrative collapses. They're left with a haunting question: was it really them, or was it me all along? And that's when the shift happens. Growth forces their projection to dissolve. The person they thought they knew, the one they labeled not enough or too much, no longer fits the story they told themselves. Your evolution exposes their misjudgment. Suddenly, their indifference turns into curiosity, their certainty into doubt. Regret isn't always loud. Sometimes it's the quiet unraveling of their ego. But remember, this isn't about winning them back. It's about realizing their regret was never the destination, just proof you were never the problem. At the heart of Carl Jung's work lies a radical idea: individuation, the lifelong journey of becoming your most authentic, undivided self. This isn't about self-improvement in the superficial sense. It's about peeling away every mask, every expectation, every borrowed identity until you stand firmly in your own truth. Individuation demands that you stop seeking validation in the eyes of others and instead turn inward, to confront, accept, and ultimately love what you find there. When you commit to this path, something profound shifts. You're no longer a reflection of others' desires. You become a force of your own making. This is where self-love transforms into power. When you cultivate a deep, unshakable connection with yourself, your energy changes. Confidence is no longer something you perform, it's something you embody. And this shift doesn't go unnoticed. Toxic people who thrive on insecurity and control will either recoil or redouble their efforts to shake you. But their tactics no longer land, because you've withdrawn the currency they traded in, your self-doubt. At the same time, you begin attracting people who resonate with your clarity, those who don't need you to shrink or apologize for taking up space. Love, respect, and opportunities start flowing toward you not because you chased them, but because you became someone who naturally commands them. This brings us to the critical distinction between needing love and choosing love. Needing love is born from lack. It's a hunger that demands to be filled by others, leaving you vulnerable to whoever offers a crumb of affection. But choosing love? That's an act of sovereignty. It means you relate to others from a place of wholeness, not emptiness. You no longer tolerate mistreatment because you've learned the most important relationship you'll ever have is the one with yourself. And paradoxically, this is what makes genuine connection possible. When you don't need someone to complete you, you're free to truly choose them, and that's the kind of love that lasts. The most transformative work you'll ever do begins where you least want to look, in what Carl Jung called the shadow. This is the hidden part of your psyche where you've buried everything you've been taught to reject. Your perceived weaknesses, your unacceptable desires, even your dormant strengths. Shadow work isn't about fixing yourself. It's about reclaiming the wholeness you've been denying. When you dare to face these disowned parts with compassion rather than judgment, you initiate a profound alchemy. The very traits you thought made you unlovable become the foundation of your deepest self-acceptance. This is why shadow work makes others' rejection lose its sting. Most pain from abandonment or betrayal doesn't actually come from losing the other person. It comes from the story their rejection activated within you. See? This proves I'm unworthy. But when you've done the work of loving your own shadows, no one else's actions can confirm your worst fears about yourself anymore. You might still feel the grief of loss, but it won't devastate your self-concept. Their departure stops being a referendum on your value and becomes simply their choice, one that says everything about their limitations and nothing about yours. This explains why your growth can provoke such discomfort in those who once hurt you. People who rejected you formed an identity around that decision. They told themselves a story about why they were right to walk away. But when they encounter the you who has done the shadow work, who radiates quiet self-possession without bitterness, their narrative fractures. The person they thought they could easily forget now reflects back their own unlived potential. Their unease isn't about you at all. It's their soul's way of asking, what if I had chosen differently? What if I had faced my own shadows instead of running from them in you? This is why your peace becomes their provocation, not because you intend it, but because healing is contagious. There comes a pivotal moment in every transformation, what we might call the boomerang effect. This is when your unapologetic happiness, your quiet contentment, your refusal to play the victim, begins to expose the hollowness of their choices. It's not that you set out to prove anything. In fact, that's precisely what makes it so powerful. While they expected you to crumble, to chase, to beg for closure, you instead turned inward and built something they can't take away. And now, your peace stands as undeniable evidence that their assessment of you was wrong. This isn't about revenge, it's about the inevitable consequence of truth. When someone bets against you and you win anyway, their regret isn't your responsibility, it's their reckoning. This is why chasing validation always backfires. The moment you seek someone's approval, especially from those who've already rejected you, you hand them the power to define your worth. But self-assurance operates differently. It doesn't demand recognition, it commands respect by its very presence. Think of it this way. When you stop explaining yourself to people who've already decided not to understand, their opinion loses its weight. They may have walked away thinking they held all the cards, but your indifference to their judgment reveals the truth. They were never the prize. You were. And the more you embody that truth, the more their certainty unravels. Consider how this plays out in real life. Breakups. The ex who swore you'd never find better watches from afar as you thrive, not because you're trying to show off, but because you finally believed you deserved more. Friendships. The friend who dropped you during your struggles now hesitates to reach out, intimidated by the confidence you've gained without them. Family dynamics. The relative who always dismissed your dreams grows uneasy when your success forces them to confront their own unrealized potential. In each case, the pattern is the same. Your growth holds up a mirror to their choices. Their discomfort isn't about you, it's about the version of themselves they now have to face. And that's the ultimate proof that you've moved on, when their regret no longer feels like victory, but simply irrelevant. True self-love isn't about positive thinking, it's about courageous doing. Jungian psychology offers us powerful, grounded tools for this transformation. Begin with journaling as active imagination. Don't just record events, but dialogue with your inner voices. When you feel unworthy, ask on paper, which part of me believes this? When did I first learn this story? This isn't navel-gazing, it's archaeological excavation of your psyche. For deeper work, practice dream analysis by keeping a notebook bedside. Your dreams are unedited messages from your unconscious. Recurring themes reveal what your shadow is ready to surface. Notice especially dreams where former critics appear. They often symbolize aspects of yourself still seeking integration. Boundary setting becomes instinctual when rooted in self-knowledge rather than resentment. A Jungian approach asks, what am I protecting in myself by saying no? Your boundaries then emerge from self-honor rather than punishment of others. Complement this with archetypal affirmations that speak to your deeper self. I contain multitudes and choose which to express, or, my shadow makes me whole, not flawed. These aren't empty mantras but incantations that reshape your relationship with all parts of yourself. Ultimately, unshakable self-love comes when you decentralize others' perceptions. Their regret or approval becomes weather passing through your atmosphere, not the climate of your worth. This isn't indifference, it's the realization that your value was never in their hands to begin with. When you stop waiting for external confirmation of your growth, you'll find it was inside you all along. The final paradox? This self-possession is what makes authentic connection possible, because you no longer relate from hunger, but from wholeness. The journey we've explored today reveals a profound truth. Loving yourself was never about making anyone regret losing you. It was always about reclaiming the parts of yourself they never got to see. When you stop seeing your worth through others' eyes, you break a spell that kept you small. Carl Jung's wisdom reminds us that the most powerful relationship you'll ever have is the one between your conscious self and the depths you've yet to explore. Their regret may come or go, but your freedom, the freedom to be whole without anyone's permission, that stays forever. Now begins your real work. Don't let these insights remain just ideas. Today, choose one action to honor yourself. Maybe it's starting a shadow work journal where you write with brutal honesty. Perhaps it's finally setting that boundary you've been avoiding, or simply looking in the mirror and acknowledging, every part of me belongs. This isn't about quick fixes, it's about daily revolutions in how you treat yourself. The moment you commit to this practice, you initiate an alchemy that transforms not just how others see you, but how you experience life itself. If this resonated with you, pay it forward. Hit like to help others find this message, subscribe for more content that challenges you to grow, and most importantly, comment below, what's one way you'll practice radical self-love today? Your words might be the exact inspiration someone else needs to begin their own journey. Remember, the world doesn't change when people regret losing you. It changes when you stop losing yourself to earn their love. You've always held the key. Now, turn it.